This is Chapter 16, Government Spends, Collects, and Owes. Discussion number 3, Government Regulation. In the lawmaking capacity of the United States government, a lot of laws have been passed in order to regulate economic activity in the way that a lot of these things can be made into criminal actions. And so what does the government do to regulate economic activity? Well, one of the things that it does is the idea of helping protect customers. For example, the Consumer Product Safety Commission, which tests many new products, pretty much all the new products that come out in the United States, and regulates any unsafe products, whether it be through the process of recall or to prevent them from even coming into the market in the first place. So a lot of times if you go back to, as you walk into a store or back near customer service, there'll be some signs posted where products that they have sold have been recalled either by the company because they know the government's going to do a recall and they're kind of beating them to it, or the government has said this is an unsafe product and it needs to be returned, or be aware of the dangers. Also, the Federal Trade Commission Bureau of Consumer Protection helping to prevent fraud in dealing with investments. This was a big problem back in the 1920s where people were selling corporation stock certificates to companies that didn't exist. And so the Federal Trade Commission is a way that the government tries to regulate the stock market in order to make sure that people aren't getting swindled by con men. Also, the government promotes competition. For example, the Securities and Exchange Commission is required to ensure that there's competition in the stock markets, to make sure that there's no insider trading, to help prevent the creation of monopolies and oligopolies that would affect prices and competition and innovation within the corporate world. So that's a requirement of them. Also, the idea of the Environmental Protection Agency is to make sure that companies don't pollute, that companies do not increase the degradation of the environment. And also, that kind of puts all the corporations on a level playing field, saying that these are the minimum standards or the standards that must be followed in order to make sure that the environment is protected. So that is as well as an important idea of how the government gets involved with regulation of the economic activity. Another one is the government gets involved in how well does the labor interact with management, or how well does the workers of a corporation get along with the administration of the corporation. And one of the ways that they do that is the creation of the National Labor Relations Board, which oversees union elections, the formation of unions and corporations. They oversee contract negotiations to make sure that everyone is behaving properly, that nothing is unseemly, that corporations are not abusing labor or doing things that in order to make them disadvantageous. In some instances, actually making sure that labor behaves himself as well. So while these are just examples of government interaction with the economy, we have some basic ideas of how the government gets involved in the economic activities of the United States and its business sector in order to help regulate it, to make sure that it works smoothly, and to make sure that things are continuing to be productive and make the United States a productive country. This concludes discussion number 3, Government Regulation.